Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to join you. I hope you're enjoying the symposium, and I want to thank you for the invitation to join you today on one of my pet projects in the Congress, and something I spend a great deal of time on. And when I first started this many years ago, I kind of felt like a voice in the wilderness, and not many people were paying attention. And I kind of fell into it when I chaired a Homeland Security subcommittee that had jurisdiction over cyber, and we did a deep dive on looking at the security of our electric grid and the potential vulnerabilities that existed. And it was eye-opening, to say the least, at the level of challenges in that area that we had to be able to best secure our electric grid. And it seems like, I guess, Alice in Wonderland, the further down the hole you went, you realize how deep the problem really is. So, but I just want to say thank you for the invitation to join you, and it's certainly wonderful to be here again to discuss what I think is one of the most pressing national security issues of our time. Cybersecurity continues clearly to dominate our national security dialogue, with new threats appearing on a daily basis. And I want to acknowledge and thank President Paxson for her leadership in convening this symposium, for all that she does to maintain Brown University's position as a world-class institution on so many fronts. Let me also, of course, thank and recognize Peter Andreas from the Watson Institute, and Dr. John Savage, Professor of Computer Science, for their hand in this event, and their leadership on these issues. It certainly is a pleasure for me to work with them on this important topic, and I look forward to obviously continuing that relationship well into the future. Let me also, I understand we also have Ambassador Mary Ann Peters, Provost of the Naval War College, and obviously a leading advocate for training cyber warriors. And this collaboration between the War College and the Watson Institute is a model for academic institutions, as far as I'm concerned, bringing together the finest minds in the field to confront challenges that we face today and in the future. And I think, by the way, that Rhode Island is very well positioned to be a national leader on cybersecurity, and I'm hoping that at some point Rhode Island itself will become if you will, a center of excellence on cyber. And I think with the collaboration that we're already seeing between Brown and the Naval War College, and many others, both the colleges and universities in Rhode Island, that we're well positioned to do that. So I hope that it will continue to move in that direction. So let me just say just briefly, new threats obviously are appearing in cyberspace every day. I know I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. And the need for solutions continues to grow. So the question right now, of course, is what is Washington doing about this? And an encouraging answer from other things that are not getting done in Washington, at least on this issue, the answer is something. Let's start with the President's executive order, which I believe was a very positive development, because it came out of years now of frustration of the Congress not passing legislation in the area of cyberspace and closing those vulnerabilities. So the President finally took it upon himself to at least try to move us a little further down the field and closing the vulnerabilities that exist. The EO addresses and advances current policy across information sharing, privacy protections, and critical infrastructure protection, though the fundamental drawback, of course, of executive action is that it cannot change statute. It cannot do things important to getting industry more involved, like giving potentially liability protection for their participation. That authority is going to rest with Congress. So, but I do think that the administration did an excellent job of towing the line and really pushing as hard as it could within the confines of what an executive order can accomplish. And there's obviously, though, a lot left to do. So in Congress, we have CISPA, the information sharing bill that just came out of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which I serve, that passed the committee almost unanimously, and it did pass the House with a strong bipartisan vote. a rare show of bipartisanship, which was encouraging. I hope it can maybe lead to it as an example of bipartisanship in other areas, though I won't hold my breath. But I believe that this bill's provisions are desperately needed. The EO, while it promises to make marked improvements on how information flows out of government, it could not address how information flows back into government from industry. And this is important. In listening to General Alexander constantly talk about this, NSA, even if we can clear the hurdles of just giving in the classified information to the private sector, which right now you probably are aware that it's against the law for the government to share classified threat information with the private sector, and it's not permissible for the private sector to share that information back with the government. Otherwise, they'd be deemed as acting as agents of the government. So we need to bring that barrier down. And again, the EO address some of that, but we need to bring that barrier down all the way, because we need situational awareness. If we don't, even though we're giving classified threat information to the private sector, unless we're getting information back about what threats or what attacks are actually happening, and also allowing that information to be shared business to business, and right now, because there's antitrust issues we have to be concerned about, unless we can have that full situational awareness, we're not going to be able to close that aperture of vulnerability down to a more manageable level. And we understand that because cyber threats are an ever-moving target, and the threats change constantly, and it's difficult to keep one step ahead of the bad guys. We're never going to be able to say we are 100% secure, but we can close that aperture of vulnerability down to something that is much more manageable than what it is today. And that is my goal, and that is what our hope really is. So achieving the situational awareness is going to need and require proper information sharing bill. And when CISPA came to the floor, it was accompanied also by two other pieces of legislation, the Cybersecurity Enhancement Act and FISMA reform legislation, which were both passed by the full House. One final major piece of legislation that's still in the works is a bill from Homeland Security Chairman Mike McCall, and I hope to see that on the floor soon as well. But I'm already examining a draft of his legislation, which was crafted, I think, in a very open and bipartisan manner, and I expect to see it on the floor later this year. In my mind, one of the real bright spots in the cyber front is the work being done, though, by the Department of Defense. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I'm certainly encouraged by the DoD's commitment to investing in the people as well as the technologies that underpin cybersecurity, even in the face of significant budget austerity in a time where we're seeing a lot of cutbacks in areas. This is an area where we're at least holding the line. If not, we're seeing growth in the area of both resources and time and attention. And I think that's important. Moreover, I think this is a true commitment on the part of the Congress to support DoD in this, and as was demonstrated by the Defense Authorization Measure that the committee just passed this week at the wee hours of the morning, about 3 a.m. So I'm still recovering, but I also want to briefly touch on one of the areas that continues to be a focus of my concern, which is the health of our cybersecurity workforce. In many ways, the technology obviously is very important, but it really does come down to the people, and we have to do a better job in this area. One of the constants in my discussions with stakeholders across the spectrum of cybersecurity is that we must have more trained and qualified cyber operators, those that can operate at the very highest levels in cyberspace, and we are not there yet by any stretch of the imagination. This requires a real focus, of course, on STEM education from a very early age in order to inspire the interest in and commitment to the field that is critical to investing in rather increasing the number of true experts to the level that we'll need, again, both now and well into the future. So this is an investment which I'm devoting a great deal of attention, and I certainly hope to have your support in collaboration moving forward, and that's why your attendance here and your participation is so important. So just in closing, we obviously have to do everything we can to make sure that the relationship between and among the civilian government, the military, and schools and the private sector are as healthy and as collaborative and productive as they possibly can be. And discussions like the one that we're having today are a key building block to that effort. So with that, I want to thank you all for taking part, and I certainly look forward to continue to work together as we go forward. Thank you. Thank you. So,
do you have time for a question?
I do. Sure, we have a few. We can do that.
Here,
Let's go to,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
So,
Okay.
I was wondering if you saw major partisan divides in how to approach the cybersecurity, solutions to the cybersecurity problem that the nation faces. And if there are such, how could you describe what they are?
Sure. There is a partisan divide to a degree on the issue of protection of privacy and civil liberties. Many more Democrats voted against the bill because of that, and the Republicans, in many ways, looked at it more from a security perspective. And but there, there was bipartisan concern, I guess you'd say, just the degree to which there was concern. And I believe that on the CISPA bill in particular, that's where you saw the most of it, the information sharing. I believe that there are adequate protections in CISPA to protect privacy and civil liberties. And in many ways, the information that's going to be shared, it's not content per se. It's about ones and zeros. It's about threat signatures. And people that have a technical background get this and understand it and are less concerned about what is going to be shared, because it's not about, again, the content. As the example of when you go through the Easy Pass, through on these roads or bridges that require tolls, your metadata, your data is being transferred, but what's not is who's in your car or what's in your car. It's about getting the information that allows your car to be billed as it's going through for the toll. And that's what we're looking for is the threat signatures that we need to be constantly aware of. But I think that these things can be overcome, and the White House has been engaged on the privacy and civil liberties, and we have engaged significantly with to a great degree with the privacy and civil liberties community. So they have had a seat at the table, and they're not at all left out of this discussion. So I think we'll get there. Yes.
So the participation is totally voluntary, and there's even a segment of the bill that says there will be no penalty if you don't join it. But what incentive will government provide for the industries to be forthcoming with their data on the signatures?
Sure. Well, what I would like to see, again, is to some degree, I'd like to see a requirement that industry, that private sector has to share threat information with the government, but we're probably not going to get there. Again, there's not bipartisan agreement on a requirement to share, so it'd be voluntary. And the issue is that if if industry makes a good faith attempt to share information, whatever they've shared and such, if there's some type of a problem or if there's an attack, that there would be some liability protection. I also think that that's going to have to be the model for going forward to get industry to adopt a certain level of cybersecurity greater than what they're adopting right now, particularly when it comes to critical infrastructure, because that's where the most damage can be done.
So beyond information sharing, shared defenses.
Right. So that'll be
shared operational defenses.
Yes, and what I would like to see is some liability protection given if, for example, industry adopts NIST standards on a minimal level of cybersecurity, and that'll be the challenge going forward. The Senate has some of the members have embraced that, and their comprehensive bill that they're trying to form. I'm in the camp, by the way, for critical infrastructure of regulatory requirements that they adopt that level of security, but as a compromise, we may have to go with liability protection.
Let's thank Congressman Langevin for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
He has a very busy schedule today here at Brown, and we appreciate your coming
Thank
by.
you. Yes,
and
I'm
doing
getting
this.
be with Dr. Donahue in Moab in just a bit, so.
That's
Anyway,
great.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Keep up the
Thank
great
you very
work.
much.
Appreciate the work you're doing. Okay.